Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. This is a live broadcast of my podcast. Hello, welcome to the Bold Pivot podcast. This is a live recording. I'm so glad to see you and joining me from everywhere else that you're joining me from. I'm a little nervous. It's my first time, so please don't be too hard on me. Um, so the first thing first, my name is Afia Ado, and this is the Bold Pivot podcast. I created this podcast because I really wanted to speak to the creatives and the entrepreneurs who are pivoting from a 9 to 5 or pivoting from one career to another. And this is important because I feel like during the um, pandemic, a lot of people noticed that, uh, their work and their job may have not been their passion, and I felt like this is something I'm passionate about, educating and helping and cultivating really good conversations where women and Black women, especially, and women of color everywhere, and are empowered to look at different opportunities, especially when things like COVID happen. So I'm so happy to see you guys supporting and joining. Please like and subscribe. Look for the podcast on your, Apple Podcasts. We're going to be broadcasting on Apple Podcast. Um, and I want to see bold pivots, like different things. And I hope you're inspired by this podcast. So today's topic is going to revolve around three main points, which are the Financial Literacy Month, National Month of Hope, and the World Health Day. I thought, why not celebrate us with such positive comments and positive topics? It's hard out there sometimes because there's so much negativity out there, and not that you want to be real and you want to have all the information, but sometimes it's a breather, and to just have a safe space to just talk things out. Specifically, let's go ahead and start with the Financial Literacy Month. I'm so glad that that's even a thing. April is Financial Literacy Month, and one thing about finances is that it's such a touchy subject. Not everybody likes to talk about money. It's like taboo almost. It used to be. It's a little bit more mainstream now. What does that look like? Financial literacy. It looks like something that it's either passed down to you that, or it's not. And for me, I didn't necessarily get that financial literacy, but I definitely saw my parents work hard and definitely save and work out, gain some profits, and they're able to build their community, and they're able to build homes. Um, my parents are originally from Africa. And we migrated to Europe, and with that, uh, they migrated because the financial situations in Africa was not ideal. At the time in the 80s, it was really tough, and they saw the one way to exit and remove them. They had to remove themselves from the environment that they were in to get into an environment that was a little bit more fertile, and that was the opportunity came about for them to migrate to Italy, and our family was able to build ourselves. My dad and my mother was able to build themselves up, bring other siblings along, help them be able to be more financially independent. So for me, that's a great um, way to start. Like maybe the environment you're in is just not allowing you to uh, be financially free or help you financially. Now nowadays the world has changed. That was about 20, 30 years ago. Nowadays, the internet allows people to have no barriers. You can be in the US and be hired all the way in the UK. You can be in Africa and be hired by, an Australian company. Like due to the fact that the internet is there and the web 2.0 boom, you can really take advantage of it. And I love so many the different communities that exist in on the internet that allow people to be hired. And the best thing, um, is when you're hired even virtually. That's even more amazing. I know during the pandemic, a lot of people were forced to work virtually, and I was one of them. And I was so lucky that I could still work and still, I just gave birth to my child, so I was with my 3-month old working and breastfeeding. It was a lot, but I was able to do it. And I know a lot of people are struggling, especially with um, juggling everything. A lot of mothers might be, uh, you know, s- it's a hard time for everybody right now. Inflation has gone up. What does that mean? It means that everything costs more. Gas has gone up. The cost of gas has gone up. The cost of living has gone up. So it is so important to have that, financial background or be strong within your finances. Luckily enough, what I have a husband who supports me, but some people may not have that backup support. So, what do you do when you don't have a backup? What do you do when you don't have that person backing you up or you have not saved? Um, you know, there might be some resources if you live in the US. I live in the US, and with unemployment, there's definitely, resources for that. There are resources for people who don't work, but, obviously it's not the ideal situation, but having that strong financial pillar in your life is very important. I did do some research and look at 10 um, 10 strongest or strangest questions that Google has about money and finances. And I thought this was really interesting. Um, but yeah, one question was, can I buy life insurance on my ex-husband? Which obviously, you can buy life insurance on anybody. It doesn't really necessarily have to be ex-husband, as long as he's aware of it, especially if you have children. It's a good thing to have life insurance. So this is a question that was uh, actually one the number two question on Google about finances, and I thought that was such an interesting question. What does life insurance do for you? It guarantees that whatever amount of money you have built, it will be insured. Whether you have built a certain, especially life insurance, and having a will and having an estate plan. Once you hit a certain threshold, um, like maybe $100,000 or above, with your with different things with different assets, it's such a great idea to even beneath that, you should insure your life anyways. And oh, I have a personal story where actually my father and I migrated from Italy when I was 15 to the US. And after a year of living here, he passed away from a heart attack. Now, that was out of nowhere. He's built himself up, he's built, um, his family, and he did not have life insurance. And let me tell you, that was very tough. And, because he's been working, 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 paying bills, and he just didn't think that was important. Um, He was young, he was about 42 years old when he passed away, and, he probably didn't think that was important. Now as an adult, after once I turned 25, I put life insurance on myself because you never know what can happen, you never know, and you don't wanna leave debt, you don't wanna leave your loved ones, struggling, especially when they're financially depending on you. For me, when my father passed away, he was a big it created a big, um it impacted our family financially, emotionally. My mother wasn't able to, um, recover from that. Alright, so getting back to it, my mom was not and I mean, we were it having our father passed away was a big, huge thing, financially, and I am imploring anyone who has the ability to get life insurance to get it. Um, Possibly, through your employer. I love, the fact that you can get the temporary, life insurance that, uh, I know it doesn't accumulate, if it's flexible and, it's pretty affordable, especially when you go through your employer. I would definitely look into life insurance. Um, let's see here. Um, so let's look into another question from the financial 10 strangest questions from Google. Um, or 10 strangest questions Googled by, about money and finances. Um, how to invest with no money? Well, um, that's a great question. How do you invest when you have no money? When you have no money, it is tough to invest. Um, what I would preface this statement is by stating when what can you do when you do have money? Because I'm sure there's a time when you did have money. Um, so having that education to have a budgeting yourself when you do have an income, and then creating, certain boundaries to make sure that you have a buffer within that budget, and also creating that 3 to 6 month of savings, having an investment plan as well. Now, if you have never had money, meaning you've never worked before, I think you have to start out by either working or going to school for um, something that's going to give you a job or a high paying skill. Um, Not having money to invest is not an excuse not to invest. Like, you have to the way the world is right now, you have to invest in something, whether it's yourself, whether it's your skills. Um, you may not need to necessarily use money at first. You could say, "Hey, I'm going to volunteer for XYZ partner and I'm going to gain a skill doing that. I'm going to intern in this XYZ company and I'm going to gain that skill." You have to do something in order to get something back. And with that, maybe once you intern for 6 months, 12 months, you'll see that you'll be able to get different opportunities because you'll have that on your resume. And then, you'll be able to work and get a bigger network that you can tap into to see if you can get different opportunities. But just saying, "I have no money," that's like everybody. Everybody starts out with 0, but, you kinda have to start somewhere, and that's within yourself and having that confidence to say, "Okay, I don't have this, but this is what I have. I don't have $1,000,000, but I have $10. Can I maybe bake a cake for somebody and for their birthday and make 5 extra dollars out of that $2?" 'Cause, I know that you can make cupcakes. You can go to the dollar store, get a cupcakes and get some frosting and make bake a cake. I'm sure it's less than $10 and you can sell it at maybe at some sort of local boutique and just start doing something. You can't just I just feel like when you say you have no money, it's like there are so many other things that can be done. Um, I get it. It can be tough, especially if you don't have the job or you have no income or never um you have never um gained or had that financial background. It can be difficult to just out of nowhere just start getting money. Starting is the most difficult part, but once you start, it's going to get easier. It's gonna get easier. It's hard. It's hard. I know it's hard. It's hard at first. It's hard at first, but you keep trying. You keep interviewing. You keep knocking at the door. Whether it's as an creative, you have a painting. You have something that you have that it's worth something, but you have to kind of sell that value. You're valuable, and you have to find an asset and within yourself or your products as a creative and or an entrepreneur. So that's definitely for me. You got to do something. You got to do something. Go to school. Go to school. Find a way to make something out of yourself. And I know that going to school is not the answer to everything, but at least you're gaining a degree, especially if you have a scholarship, apply for scholarships. Community college is almost free. So there's some trade that you can learn. Today, someone was talking about Walmart. Walmart has jobs for, they'll train you and you start out. I think it was either 90 to $100,000 for a truck driver. I mean, if if I could, I would definitely do that. Try to get something that's high yielding, low. Um, it doesn't take too much of an effort to do. I mean, driving. I know it's not too strenuous on your body, but it can get. But it's definitely an amazing opportunity if you can get to drive and be on your own, at least get somewhere of a savings started there. All right, so another question that is on. I have to kind of skim through some of them. They're not all great. All right. So, I see that you can. I think we're gonna be done with these questions from Google. They're not that great. All right. So let's move on to the next thing. National Month of Hope. Um, April is National Month of Hope, which is about celebrating the power of hope, the belief that things will work out, especially when it seems otherwise. Have you guys ever noticed like how, frequently people use the word hope um, especially in our everyday conversations. Like for me, I'm from a faith background, so hope, praying is just, synonymous with each other, especially in a Christian community. Well, that's because it's a concept that's deeply rooted in a culture and a society. So, for me, I think it's hope is a great concept. It's something great to celebrate. Being hopeful, celebrating each other, becoming, overcoming barriers. And I think it's something we should teach. We should spread it. Um, and I hope you do. I hope you do if you like this stream, this podcast, please like it. If you learn anything or you've been inspired, I hope you do like and subscribe to it. I love to hear and see any comments if you have any comments on how where you would like this to see, where you would like this to pivot to. Um, for me, hope means like not giving up on yourself, not giving up on your dreams. Hope, see, it's such a great word. And I know like my cousin's name is Hope. So um I love that word, hope. What's stopping you from getting to the next level in your career, in your businesses, in your creative, in your creativity, like what's stopping you from being hopeful? Maybe you have to remove yourself from the situation you're in, like my father did. He had to immigrate to a different continent that he's never seen, that he's never touched, he's never smelled, but he had to, you know have that courage and that hope that there was something better, a better life. So I hope you're able to gain something out of that, and I hope you're within this National Month of Hope that you're able to get out of your situation and get out of your head and step into new places in your career, in your mind, in your everyday life. Sometimes you just have to get out of your head, and it happens to me sometimes where it's like I'm so focused or distracted sometimes, distracted by so many things that I'm not even focusing on what needs to be done, and because maybe a little bit of anxiety steps in and kicks in, and you know and it doesn't feel good to have that fear crippling you. And so I think hope is such a great feeling to kind of get you unstuck to the next level, because if you have hope you can actually think about and dream about what you want. When I have hope, when there's hope, there's a chance. There's a chance. That's all we need. Sometimes I just need to know there's a chance that I'm gonna get that job. There's a chance. I'm not I hate wasting time. I hate wasting time. So just knowing there's hope for a better future, that's all I need to keep going. Um, so, and hopefully that helps anybody who's struggling with anything right now. So, the next thing, changing gears to the World Health Day. So, on April 7th, actually, it was World Health Day, kind of passed, but I want to still talk about it. And the World Health Organization chooses to highlight a special theme current in the wellness and medical world, ranging from mental health to insurance and everything in between. This day sets the tone for what's to come in the world stage. This year's World Health Day will shine a light on nurses and midwives, the on the call restless workforce that revolutionized the healthcare industry as we all know it today, especially with the COVID. Um, and I think that's such a great thing to highlight the women and the men who work in the hospitals. Um, Nurses do such an amazing job. When you have a really great nurse, it makes a difference. For me, when I was pregnant and about to deliver, I had to go to a hospital, and I could tell the nurse that was not interested, who was about to be clocked off, didn't give me the full attention that they needed, and the one that was going to be on call for the whole time that I was there gave me all the attention. And so I can tell when, obviously customer service, I've worked in a customer service. So, you know, I definitely put that in my survey when I was leaving, but I can tell, and I love to praise people. When they do a great job, I want to push and elevate and promote. And I loved the experience that I had with my nurse, and I just think nurses and midwives, they're doing such a thankless job. They're expected to do a lot. I'm sure there's a lot of pressure the day to day, especially with COVID. So I heard a lot of nurses did even pivot out of their careers because it was so overwhelming. But if you are a nurse, if you know any nurses around you, just congratulate them and thank them for their service, and keep hopefully the nurses do get the proper resources to be able to perform their duties at their best. It's not guaranteed that you're gonna get the best person to work with, but at least if you're able to communicate your needs and your concerns, at least hopefully that those things can be addressed. Um, but it's definitely an amazing thing to be a nurse. And just the history of the holiday, just a little bit of a background about that. It was actually first celebrated in December 1945. Officials of Brazil and China proposed the creation of an international health organization that is all encompassing and absolutely independent from any government power. Half of the year later in New York, in July 1946, the Constitution of the World Health Organization was approved, and said constitution entered into force on April 7th, 1948, as 61 countries signed for the inception of the NGO. As one of the first official acts of WHO, they created the celebration of the World Health Day. It was first observed on July 22nd, 1949, but the date was later changed to April since the world it was changed to April 7th. The establishment of WHO to encourage student participation. So, um, this is just a really great day, and it's to shine a line on the viral role played by nurses and midwives providing healthcare around the world. where advocacy events will be held around the world, including launching the first ever State of the World Nursing Report, which will provide planning to optimize the contribution of the nursing workforce. So yeah, so I'm excited to hear about the World Health Day, and I hope you're excited about it as well. Something else that's happening is on April 10th, that's coming up tomorrow. It's Palm Sunday, and that's the beginning of Jesus' final week on Earth. It's not an official federal holiday, which means that businesses usually are open and running. However, since Palm Sunday falls on a weekend, the Sunday before Easter, gives people enough time to space to celebrate it by going to church, including other traditions. Each country has its own share of cultures influences Palm Sunday's celebration. For example, Latvia's Palm Sunday celebrated as Pussy Willow Sunday. So, I think it's a great way to end this podcast today. Thank you guys for joining me today. I am so glad that you were able to enjoy it. Please like and subscribe to the channel, to the podcast. I know I'm live streaming on YouTube, so anyone who listens to the replay, please like and subscribe. And you're the MVP. I'm definitely gonna comment to your comment questions. Well, I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. My name is Afia, and I hope you have a great evening.